Welcome. We're going to talk about a really crucial piece of modern systems, the API gateway. You could almost call it the unsung hero that brings order, safety, and a whole lot of sanity to the world of microservices. Okay, so picture this. You've done all the hard work, right? You've taken that giant monolithic app and broken it into all these smaller, more flexible microservices. And that's great. Your teams can ship features faster, they can work more independently, but you've basically traded one big problem for like 100 smaller ones. Now you have a distributed system, and that brings in a whole new world of complexity. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into how this thing called an API gateway answers these big questions. We'll look at how it locks down your system, how it makes life way easier for your apps, and how it handles all the complicated traffic routing behind the scenes. Basically how it brings order to all that chaos. First things first, security. Think about it. When you had one big monolith, you had one front door to protect. Simple enough. But now, with dozens or maybe even hundreds of microservices, your attack surface has just exploded. Trying to keep security consistent and up to date on every single one of those services, that's a huge headache, and honestly, a massive risk. And you know what's really tricky here? The line between what's a public API and a private one can get blurry, and it can change really fast. A service that's just internal today might need to be opened up to a partner tomorrow. If you're trying to manage security on a service-by-service basis, that one little business change suddenly becomes this dangerous, error-prone project. So here's the key idea. Instead of trying to bolt a lock onto every single window and door of a giant skyscraper, you build one super fortified main entrance with a dedicated security team. That main entrance, that's your API gateway. It becomes the one and only place where all your security rules are enforced. And the difference this makes is just night and day. On the left, you've got chaos. Every team is reinventing the wheel, policies are all over the place, and trying to audit it is a nightmare. But on the right, with a gateway, you have control. Security is managed in one central spot. The rules are applied to everything consistently, and you have a single, tough perimeter you can actually monitor and audit effectively. Okay, so let's move on to the next piece of the puzzle. We have secured the perimeter, which is awesome. But now we have to make it efficient for our actual client apps, the mobile app or the website, to get the data they need without doing a ton of work. This is where developers run into a problem they know all too well: chatty interfaces. See, to build just a single screen in an app, the app might have to make a whole bunch of different API calls to different services. It's a huge pain, especially on a phone where every network call adds lag and is more likely to fail over a weak connection. Let's make this super concrete. Imagine our app wants to show 20 product recommendations. So first, it has to make one call to the recommendation service just to get the list of 20 product IDs. And then it has to turn around and make 20 times more calls, one for each and every product, to get all the details like the name and price. That's 21 separate calls for just one screen. This is that classic N+1 query problem, and it is an absolute performance killer. But what if we could just get rid of all of that? This is where the gateway puts on its second hat. It's not just a security guard, it's also an orchestrator. That's the magic number, 1. The client makes just one simple call to the gateway. And this is a total game changer for app performance, for battery life on a phone, and honestly, for the sanity of your developers. So the gateway acts kind of like an orchestra conductor. The client sends that one high-level request. The gateway then intelligently goes out and calls all the necessary services on the back end. It gets the list, it fetches all 20 product details, often all at the same time. Then it pulls all that data together, maybe filters it, transforms it, and sends back one single, clean response with exactly what the client needed. No more, no less. So the gateway makes life for the client app a breeze. That's fantastic. But behind that simple, stable front, the microservice world is dynamic. It's constantly changing. So how does the gateway itself deal with all that complexity? This is a really core challenge in any kind of modern cloud-native system. When you're using things like containers and auto-scaling, service instances are popping up and disappearing all the time. Their IP addresses and ports are temporary. You just can't hard-code a network address anymore. It's not going to work. The solution here is a pattern called service discovery. The easiest way to think about it is like a real-time, self-updating phone book for all of your microservices. Whenever a new instance of a service starts up, it registers itself in this central directory. When it shuts down, it gets removed.
that registry is always up to date.
And this really highlights the fundamental disconnect. Your client app, it just wants simplicity. It wants to call one stable, unchanging address like api.mycompany.com/products. But the reality on the back end is this chaotic, shifting landscape of dozens of instances with temporary addresses. The API gateway is the bridge. It works hand in hand with that service discovery system to translate this simple public address into a request to a specific healthy service at a specific IP and port, hiding all of that back-end chaos from the client. So let's bring it all home. When we put all of this together, what's the fundamental role of the API gateway? What's the one thing you really need to remember from all this? It really plays three critical roles for your system, and we've got some good analogies for them. It's the security guard, giving you that single, hardened checkpoint for all access. It's the orchestra conductor, simplifying all those complex data fetching requests for your clients. And it's the air traffic controller, seamlessly routing traffic to the right backend services no matter how much they're moving around. So here's the bottom line. An API gateway isn't just some optional technical add-on. It's a strategic component. It's the thing that actually makes the whole promise of microservices, moving fast and staying safe, actually work when you start to scale. It handles the complexity so your development teams can just focus on what they're best at, building great features. Thanks so much for watching. So the next time you're using an app that just feels incredibly fast and smooth, you can probably bet there's an API gateway working hard behind the scenes. If this helped you get a clearer picture of why they're so important, please do me a favor and hit that like button, share it with a friend or a colleague, and subscribe for more explainers just like this one. We'll see you in the next one.